Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we are diving deep into a topic that so many families are quietly struggling with, that feeling of being stuck. We're going to talk about the psychological phenomenon that's often called failure to launch. We'll break down what it really is, where it comes from, and most importantly, how to start moving forward. So, does this hit home for you? Maybe you're a parent and you see all this potential in your kid, but they're just stuck. Or maybe you are that young adult and you feel that inertia every single day. It's a really common and honestly a super frustrating experience. But just understanding it is the very first step toward making a change. All right, let's get right into it. First things first, what are we actually talking about when we say failure to launch? Because let me tell you, it is so much more than just being lazy or unmotivated. We have to look past that simple label. Now, this is really key. Failure to launch isn't an official diagnosis you'd find in a medical textbook. Think of it more as a clinical metaphor, a way to describe this kind of developmental pause. It's not about someone living at home to save money for school. It's about the internal roadblocks, that deep-seated anxiety, that lack of purpose, that are literally preventing a young adult from taking those next steps with any kind of confidence. And this is a perfect breakdown of how it actually shows up day to day. You can see it's not just one thing. It's this whole cluster of issues. You've got the psychological side with low motivation and feelings of hopelessness. Then that spills over into behavior, right? Avoiding responsibilities, pulling away from friends. And of course, it impacts relationships, often leading to codependency. You can probably see how these all feed into each other, creating this vicious cycle that's so hard to break out of. So the big question is, why does this happen? Well, as we're about to see, the research shows it's almost never just one single thing. It's usually a perfect storm of different factors, all coming together at once. So first, let's look inside at the psychological factors. A huge piece of the puzzle is often an underlying mental health condition. Things like anxiety and depression can absolutely sap the energy you need to do, well, anything. Then you have executive function challenges, which are really common with ADHD. That makes planning, organizing, and just getting started feel next to impossible. And sometimes, to cope with all of that, substance use can enter the picture, which of course just adds another massive barrier to moving forward. The family environment, as you can imagine, plays a massive role here too, and it can go both ways. A chaotic home can definitely get in the way of a kid's emotional development, but, and this is so important, a really well-intentioned, overprotective parent can accidentally cause problems too. When you're always jumping in to rescue your kid from failure or discomfort, you're inadvertently teaching them that they can't handle things on their own. You're taking away their chance to build resilience. And finally, we have to look at the world young adults are stepping into. Let's be real. The cost of living is high, and the job market is tough. That creates incredible financial stress. In fact, research has found that 1 in 6 young adults is dealing with high financial stress, which makes them 6 times more likely to have psychological distress. You combine that with this crazy societal pressure to be an instant success, and what do you get? A paralyzing fear of failure, where it just feels safer not to even try. Okay, so we've looked at the problem, we've looked at the causes, now for the most important part, the solutions. And the really good news here is that this is a highly treatable condition. So let's look at the evidence-based approaches that actually work to clear that path to independence. What the research shows, time and again, is that the most effective strategy is this two-pronged approach. You can't just treat the young adult in a vacuum. On one side, you need individual therapy like CBT, which is amazing for helping someone reframe those negative thought patterns and build new skills. But on the other side, you absolutely have to address the family dynamic. That's where parent-focused therapy comes in, like a method called SPACE. It's all about helping parents learn how to pull back on those enabling behaviors and instead support their child's autonomy. Now, beyond formal therapy, there are absolutely practical, concrete things that can be done right away. So let's lay out a little blueprint for action for both the young adult and for their parents. For the young adult, the name of the game is momentum. You've got to break that paralysis. So instead of a huge goal like get a career, start with something small, something manageable, like apply for one job this week. It's all about building those small wins. At the same time, actively learning life skills, getting back out into the community, and, this is a big one, practicing self-compassion are all absolutely crucial for rebuilding confidence. And for parents, the biggest challenge is making that shift from being a caretaker to being a coach. That means setting clear boundaries around things like money and chores. It means talking openly without judgment. And this is the hardest one, I know. It means resisting that powerful urge to rescue them. Letting your kid experience the natural consequences of their choices is how they learn. Your job is to support them through it, not solve it for them. Now, all of these strategies are powerful, but actually putting them into practice can be incredibly difficult. And that is exactly why getting professional support is so often the key to making real, lasting change. You really don't have to figure this all out on your own. And if you take away one thing today, please let it be this. This condition is reversible. These developmental delays can be overcome. With the right, consistent, integrated support system, recovery isn't just a hopeful wish, it's the expected outcome. There is a clear path forward. So, what does that right, integrated support actually look like? Well, it often means a team-based approach, one that attacks the problem from multiple angles, just like the research suggests. You'd want to find specialists who can get to the root of the issue quickly and give you a really clear plan. A practice like Edward Jenny and Associates, for example, is built on this exact model, providing that deep insight and accountability that is so necessary for success. At the end of the day, breaking this cycle of inertia doesn't start with some giant leap. It starts with a simple decision to take one small, deliberate step forward. So if you're ready to take that step, connecting with a therapist who specializes in this work, like the ones at Edward Jenny and Associates, is a great place to start. The real question isn't how far you have to go. It's just, what's your next step going to be?